Hi there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to create an interactive card, so I pulled out my MFT Sentiment Rip Strip dies, and these do come as a set. There's one for landscape and one for portrait. I'm using the smaller of the two for portrait. And here I'm going to take my ruler and line that up with my card base to make sure I've got that strip nice and straight. I'm working on a side folding card base made from MFT Steel Blue cardstock. And once I've got that positioned and taped down, I'm going to run that here through my Big Shot. So now that I've got that tear strip die cut and perforated, I'm going to take that to my MISTI. I've lined that up in the bottom corner there and then taken my sentiment and placed that in the middle of that tear strip area. So that way I know that when I put down this Nina panel, which this is trimmed to 4 by 5 1/4, I know that I'm going to be stamping that in the exact right place that I need it. So I've grabbed my Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my panel here. And then next I've got some 1/8 inch Scor-Tape and I'm going to place that around all 4 sides. Now I would suggest, if you're going to do this, that on the side where your tear strip is going to pull, however you have that positioned, don't put any tape right where that tear strip is. Mine got stuck just a little bit. I was able to pry it up, but I would go most of the way, but just leave that little area there open. So here I am peeling away that backing and I'm going to place this behind that tear strip. So I'm lining that up there, and I'm also going to pick this up. It's a little difficult to get on camera, but as I'm placing that down, I'm making sure that that sentiment is directly behind that tear strip, and you can see that as you're laying it down. You just want to make sure to go slowly, and like I did there, I didn't pull off the full amount of the tape. That way, if I did set it down and it wasn't exactly right, I could go ahead and pull it back up really quickly. So since I had all of my stamping stuff out, I decided to grab another Nina panel trimmed to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to stamp out the sentiment Halloween greetings for the inside of my card. For the outside, I'm going to stamp this bat repeatedly all over to cover this. I wanted it to look sort of like you were looking into a cave full of bats and they were all going to be flying out at you. So you'll see there at the corner of the pull tab, I did stamp the word pull. That's another MFT interactive word set that you can use for these type of cards. I actually colored my background in black, so while it would have been great to have that there, I ended up coloring it to have the background of that cave in black, and you don't end up seeing it. But what I did in the end was just pulled up the edge and kind of curled that slightly, so that way you would easily know that you were supposed to pull it. I think I forgot to mention, but this little guy is from the MFT Which Way is the Candy stamp set. It's really adorable. It has lots of cute images. This is only one of probably 6 or 7. And this is actually an older stamp set that a lot of people were asking them to reissue. So last year they brought this out and got a whole nother batch of them made. So now that I've got all of those bats stamped, I've pulled out my Zig Writer. This is the EK Success journaling pen that I like to use. And it's really great because it has these 2 separate types of tips. So this, I will not lie, took quite a while. I enjoy coloring, so I don't mind that so much, but it was not a quick process. I had to keep switching between the 2 different tips, and I would use the smaller to go in around the ear and the face there, and then in between the ears, and also around his little feet to try and keep those clear of the larger tip. But what I found easiest was to sort of work in a stripe, so I would do sort of the first top fourth, I would fill in around all those little areas with the smaller tip of the pen, and then I would go in and do the larger strokes with the more marker type tip. And then once I had that black background completed, I grabbed a dark gray color and added a little bit of shading to those lines in the wings to give them some dimension. Next, I'll come in with a very, very light gray. I didn't want to go white and have that be too stark, but I used a very, very light gray and filled in the eyes so they look almost white. And then I also grabbed a little bit of pink and added just a few strokes of that to the ears. And finally came back in with this same light gray color and really, really sharpened that pencil and just did one tiny little dot or stroke to add in the fangs that the bats have. Then finally I brought in my Uni-Ball black Signo gel pen and just added those eyes, the black dots for those eyes. They get a little bit washed out when you use the Prismacolor colored pencils over them. I have these googly eyes stickers from Simon Says Stamp. I will link them below. They are a special Halloween product. And there happened to be 3 of them that matched almost perfectly the eyes that were already on these bats. So I thought I would accentuate a few of those, and I've added those to 3 of the bats here. Finally, for a little something extra on my inside panel, I'm just adding a stripe of orange washi towards the bottom there. Then I'll go ahead and add my ATG to the back and place that on the inside of my card base. Here I grabbed some white grid paper so you can see that a little better, and that will complete the card for today. Here are a few close-ups of the finished card. Of course, you'll find additional photos as well as a full list of supplies at my blog post, linked in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a comment or a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.